welcome to the Mythical Garden. My name is Gianna. This is my godfather, Joey. This is our
Okay,
dual podcast for the Mentors, and we're going to begin. So, bendición.
Santo. My name is Joey. I'm her godfather, and we basically gonna launch a pod together. It's more of an informative pod. We will be doing readings. We'll also be doing some adventures and ghost hunting and stuff on certain programs, But basically, I believe this will be more to inform people of what you're getting yourself into when you get on TikTok and social media and you decide to follow certain people on there which are straight phonies. There's a lot of imposters out there. And I mean, you couldn't spit the wrong way without seeing a reader or a psychic.
Yes,
And half of the time the stuff that they give you is backwards. It's mirrored. It's backwards. It's illusional.
it's
It's
Google
an
for
illusion. It's like a mirage in the desert.
you. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna crawl to it, but it's not gonna. You're not gonna get any results.
Yeah.
This religion, like first off, I'm not doing this to be famous. I'm doing this to teach people, to educate people. I haven't been on social media since 2018 when my dad died. I gave up social media. So this is my comeback. And although, there's a lot of people out there that claim to be the best, I'm not claiming to be better than anyone. I just know I'm the best at what I do. Now, you have people out there that are preaching that people can't talk to the egg wounds. That's a lie. There's people out there that they do have talent. They might have a talent or a skill, but it's not quite what they're saying it is. So they're just getting into it and they're trying to monetize off of it. We do gain when we help people, but we're to use it to build ourselves stronger for the next person. It's not about to get rich. Santeria, Ifa was not created for us to get rich. It was our belief. I say our because the my ancestors, I'm Afro Latino, so my ancestors came from Africa, landed in Puerto Rico, and then went from Puerto Rico here. But the true, I'm gonna say, the true messengers of this religion were the slaves. They were taken from their homeland and brought here. They were not allowed to practice. They were not allowed to speak African. They weren't even allowed to be kind to. There were literally laws that did not allow planters and plantation owners' wives to interact in a kind manner in public or in private with the slaves that they acquired, that they bought.
Yep.
So we use Christianity to hide it. My ancestors, when they were brought here, they used Christianity to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are similar deities in and we're gonna say saints in Christianity that the deities of Ifa matched with, correlated with, and we hid them through it.
Yep.
You'll find it in colors and certain different paths and secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of it is that this religion was brought to the US and it was bound in secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
And through the secrecy was only used for survival. I mean, somebody tells me I'm going to pray to my beliefs and I'm going to be persecuted for it or hung for it or beaten to death for it. I'm not going to let them, I'm going to follow them and smile too, especially in a position where you have no say.
Yep.
I'm old school. I was taught old school. So we were taught that is your best policy. People don't need to know what you have because you sitting out here spreading what you got and bragging about who you are and what level you at, and who tells their enemies where they live and how to get at them and their vulnerabilities. So you make yourself vulnerable. A lot of people prey on that. They prey on vulnerability. They prey on the weakness of the mind.
Don't they also prey on not only vulnerability, but a lot of people tend to show their hands first before
Yes.
hiding their older cards. They
It's
will,
like play it's like a lot of people tend to play poker with their cards shown.
yes.
Who does that? No one. It's just to be monitored.
Oh, we lost you there a little.
TikTok, which like I said, I've been off of social media since 2018. I just got on recently to TikTok and Instagram. Not so much Instagram, but TikTok. It's disappointing. It's disheartening. It's
Mhm.
disrespectful what they're doing on TikTok.
I've seen I've seen people call down Orishas being mounted, sacrifices.
I've seen a lot of people fake it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fakes. And if you are doing it for real and it happens for real, shame on you. Your ancestors and the Africans, the millions of Africans that died here, brought that here with this the belief that the secrecy would remain. And to trash that because technology could advance 10 times over. But the respect for your beliefs and the respect to the rules of your beliefs is something that you should hold valid to your heart and your soul.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get into this religion because they treat it like a gang. Why do most kids in the street join gangs? Because they're weak. They're weak minded, they're weak hearted, and they have to join a gang to seek that extra protection, to feel safe.
And not only that, some of them use the disguise of I'm looking for a family to join gangs too.
Some people join it for that too, but most people that I've encountered, like I came from the Bronx, where my family practices to this day, and
Mm-hmm.
where my family brought their names up. Came from the Bronx to Massachusetts. Massachusetts was the worst. There were old ladies and people that I would go into botanicas that were makeshift botanicas because there was a little hole in the walls and deter people from there. Nah, don't come here. That person don't know what they talking about. And then I moved to Florida and it was 10 times worse than that. I watched people empty out their bank accounts to receive the wrong things or receive empty vessels.
Mm-mm.
There's
So
certain things that go into pots. There's certain things that go into the things you do, and there's certain ingredients you use that I haven't seen to this day people use.
mm-hmm.
But the main ingredient that I've seen lacking in all of it is respect.
Yes.
The respect for the religion and the secrecy in which we carry it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not being secret. We're not. You're not supposed to give the people what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to help them with the stuff you've learned. You don't give people what you've acquired. You teach them how to acquire their own. Everybody's born with a guardian angel.
Yep.
On the day of your birth, you're assigned a guardian angel and you're assigned Orishas. Let no one tell you that that's not true. That is the absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
Before you come down to this world, to this planet, to this life, God sits down with you and explains to you what you're getting yourself into and what you're signing up for. And then he gives you that one thing that the fallen angels and the angels from heaven fight over: free will.
Mm-hmm.
You have the destiny, you have the will to change your destiny, not others. You can help others and guide them on their road to pick the right path to better their destiny and not to fall prey to themselves because we fall prey to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people land in what we call a sogbo, which is like a spiritual prison, because they do the wrong things. And then there's people like us where even if we have nothing and someone comes to us, we help them to attain what they need.
Yep.
Even if I've seen, I'm going to say a multitude of maybe 50 people in my lifetime. I'm only 49, but I've helped so many people that I've seen at least 50 people get rich and I never saw them again. Did I hold it to them because they did that? No, you go and you live your life. You can't come back to ask for that pot again,
Mm-hmm.
but you go and you live your life. But this pod that we're doing is basically we're gonna do readings, we're gonna do some ghost adventuring, we're gonna go hunting on tabs and stuff. But it's basically to educate people because I'm not saying I'm the police, I'm the righteous one, the chosen one. I'm not.
Hmm.
But I'm
So
a real man. And
there's
I'm real.
there's this conception out that our, and I feel like it's across platforms, across religions, that Eguns don't exist. Our ancestors don't exist. Once the meat suit dies, that's it. It's nothing afterwards.
First of all, when you die, you don't go nowhere. It's just the next step. Unless you're a reincarnation, you're here. And I'll be damned if anybody tell me that I don't see my egg wounds and I don't speak to my egg wounds. Because I could have just met you and you sit down for a reading and I could give you your whole life from your first memory to your last memory to you sitting in front of me.
Hmm.
And I've had people throw their money on the table and run as to how do you know this if I just met you?
Hmm.
Because we have dead that walk with us, our ancestors. My dad and my mom walk with me. My grandmother taught me from the grave. She started teaching me when she was 11 and she taught me from the grave. And I've received a lot of it's a 50-50 with the nah, that's a lie versus prove it.
You
And
know,
then I have to prove myself. But
you
if you
know,
hold true to what you do and you know what you can do, you shouldn't have to prove yourself.
the entire time that we've been sitting here, somebody has been poking their eye out in that little crevices right there.
Well, you're pointing at your
Oh,
screen,
I
so
know. But like, if you look at your screen on the curtain, the little gap
yeah,
right there,
Eshu runs around my house rampantly. I have like six different Eshus.
and one of them is doing peekaboo with me. They were doing peekaboo with me the whole time, and I'm just like, I see you.
But you see, someone else would think you're crazy for saying that.
Hmm.
Someone else would deny it. Oh, you wrong. First of all, I've heard many people on TikTok say that you cannot speak to your egg wounds. When you're sitting there talking and you're hearing things that you're seeing fruition come to life, you
Hmm.
think that was you that told you that, fool? No. Your egg wounds know everything, past, present, and future.
Hmm. And they
So,
and I'm
so
gonna
if
say this in a joking way, in a funny way. They top flight snitches. They will snitch on you. Trust me, I've been there. They snitch on you.
first class top flight snitches,
Hmm.
and I try not to say it too much, but people won't understand that my children are all reincarnations. They won't understand that. 2 weeks before my wife conceived my first son, my grandfather came back and told me he was coming back. And my son was born on the same day my grandfather died.
Hmm.
They shared the same day at the same exact time. When my son was born, the doctor and the 7 nurses in the room could not understand what was going on, that it looked like 100 million fireflies in the room. You heard that? You
Yeah,
heard that?
I heard that. Don't.
Oh, 100,000 firefly. And they were like, what's going on? This is supposed to be really
So,
bright.
so to give people an understanding of what they're seeing, so there's an episode in the TV show Charm, not the reboot, the original Charm,
Okay.
where Piper character, her son Wyatt, which is the twice blessed or whatever, when he's born, they show a swirl of white light.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of what you said, like the fireflies, because that's what it looks like, a swirl of white fireflies, orbs in the TV show. So that's what the kind of idea I want to give the people that listen, so they can visualize what you mean by that. Just go and watch the episode.
it's if only people knew what was in the dark. See, a lot of people watch, you lose your innocence when you start watching horror flicks.
Hmm.
Then you start thinking, oh man, there's demons. Yes, there's bad spirits. Yes, there's demons. I've seen demons myself.
I've seen one too.
There's demons, there's bad spirits, but there's also other spirits. And a spirit needs energy to manifest itself.
Hmm.
In order for it to manifest itself, the first emotion it's going to use on you is fear.
Yep.
Because that's the strongest one. Your adrenaline spikes up, your heart rate spikes up, you start sweating, you get scared, you get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
So you're releasing so many different pieces of and different types.
Okay.
You disperse that energy, they magnetize to it, they pull it in, and yes, they manifest. Whether it's a full body apparition standing right next to you showing itself, or whether it's talking to you. I need people out there to understand you were born with gifts. Each and every one of
Yep.
us has a different gift, whether it's spiritual, artistic. We all have an ability in us. Is what you unlock. See, this is in my blood. This been in my. I was born with this in my blood,
Mm-hmm.
so it was easy to get into it. Yeah, as a teenager, as a kid, I didn't take it seriously. But as I started going into my 20s and started seeing what I was doing, then I moved out of New York and I moved to the top of a mountain in Massachusetts, basically. And I started reading more books and buying more books and getting deeper into it. And through my own personal experiences, it showed me who I was.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to Florida, it was this is so, there's so many people here that practice, but me, I landed in the wrong pot. I didn't want to get into a family or a house, and it ended up happening. I ended up doing it. And then I went from that house to another house. But the first house I was in, they were trying to manipulate you. Like, for example, they would tell you you couldn't do anything illegal or illicit, but their children are doing illegal or illicit things. That's why they no longer have a house.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the couple that was running the show, they no longer are married. They no longer have a home because they were robbing people. They weren't giving people real stuff. Their their participants of what they were into will all pull me in different directions. Yo, you shouldn't be with them. You should be with me. Yo, you shouldn't be with them. You should be with me. So I say, you know why I think it's time, and through their personal experiences with them, trying to do things to me. First of all, when it was declared, yes, I have two crowns.
Mm-hmm.
Había mañana, I have a tune. They didn't like it. Baby of both waters. I don't know what the issue was. Now, before I was born, I was given Chango and Obatala to protect me from what people were doing to my mother while I was in her womb and as soon as I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had people that said, "You're not crowned." Yes, I am. And then I had people that in New York as a teenager trying to get into this to discover myself and my abilities. I had people that would actually advocate me to go out and do the wrong things to make money to put in their pockets so that they could advance me. You see what I'm saying? So it's the moral of the story is there's people on TikTok. I'm not talking to you, Gian. I'm
Yeah.
talking to them. There's people out here that are selling themselves to steal yourself.
Yeah. It's and it's funny that so the outside looking in, Santeria has this stigma where one is witchcraft. That's the biggest stigma I've heard.
Oh yeah, but it is.
It is. It is.
There is witchcraft involved in Santeria.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go along the lines from Africa here and you travel the seas, you're going to hit places where Santeria is of different calibers. It's under different names.
Mm-hmm.
Palo, Mayamberos, hoodoo, voodoo. It
Mm-hmm.
all has aspect. I mean, what gives Santeria the stigma is the sacrifices, whether it's animal or food or you giving up something,
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice. Listen, we Jesus sacrificed himself for us, didn't he?
Yep.
So it started there. It started there.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that, I'm not going to get into the God thing, but people have a misconception about Jesus too. Jesus wasn't an only child.
Mm-hmm.
There were other siblings. He had siblings. He also had a twin. People don't talk about that because they weren't educated on those things. See, I learned from the second highest person in Santeria through one of their godchildren that I was totally wrong about what I learned in New York. That's a watered down version.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't just practice Santeria. I practice Ifa. Ifa one. Ifa, the original religion. Ifa, Africa, the motherland. And my kids, my son speaks African. He does his prayers in African. He doesn't do them in English. He doesn't do them in Spanish. He does them in African because we hold respect to it.
Yep.
We hold tradition to it. People don't hold tradition no more.
Nope.
If you sit here and you tell me I'm wrong for what I'm saying because it spiked you a certain way, maybe you that fool or that disrespectful disciple on TikTok selling the secrets for a few hearts
And
and a few pennies.
that saying, a hit dog holler.
And let me say this too, because I want people to understand me when I say this.
Mm-hmm.
I exposed people for being fraudulent because I learned the hard way, to be honest.
Yep.
And it took you have to seclude yourself from people. You have that there's a feeling inside of you that you get. And when you get that feeling that you get sick or you get disturbed or you get mentally distraught, to have to know you have to come around people is because that's your soul telling you you need time for you, heal you, fix you, learn you.
I
And then the other thing is there's a lot of people out here that are buying books.
mm-hmm.
Now, see, the misconception that people have is if I buy that book and I learn how to do that and I see anything of an inkling that looks like a result from what I did, then I did it right. Okay, so you read a book, you did some witchcraft out of a book, and you think you did it right. What if you didn't do it right? That book does not teach you how to do it to fix what you did, to undo what you did.
Yep.
So now you screwed you and you messed up the person that you thought you was doing something to. That's where Osogbo, spiritual punishment, comes in play. Osogbo is when all your rishas turn their back on you. So
And,
if you ever see somebody smashing their rishas,
mm-hmm.
smashing so bad as popping their beads because they don't feel their rishas or they're not getting the results they want, it's because you're in a sogbo. You're
and
being punished for taking advantage of somebody.
and the best way you explained Osobo to me when I first asked was you being in a room full of people and nobody noticed you there at all. They won't even look your way, breathe your way, talk your way. You're just basically in a room full of people and at the lowest being lonely,
Well,
basically.
well, remember too, in medieval times, magic was at its highest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As far as in the Europeans, and their beliefs was if someone misused magic and they practiced the wrong way, or even in Africa, you would be shunned, you would be ignored. And by people doing that to you and that process being done to you, your magic didn't work.
Yeah.
You was invisible. And that literally does, to an extent, it does work. But in today's society, when people don't agree with you or they don't see eye to eye with you and they don't see your point, whether it's through misinformed or uneducated,
Mm-hmm.
they want to spite you. So
Mm-hmm.
they want to come at you.
Yep. Attack
And,
mode.
and come at me, bro. You prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You may have read more books than me. You may believe what was in those books, but I get taught better. I get taught from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
I will never say that I picked up a book and learned more from a book than I did from the dead. Example. My when I was 19, my best friend was murdered on the streets in New York. The day he was, I came out of a store and I had just seen him. And I had just seen his brother who committed the act. And I went to turn to my left and it was a dark street. I went and I looked in front of me and it was either way I could have gone home, but either way.
Mm-hmm.
And as I started to walk to my left, I had a boom box. My batteries died. So I went back into the store and bought my batteries, came back out, and somebody pulled my jacket and said, go this way. And as I got more than halfway through the street, I heard the ringing of what was my friend's end. What was that? And people think that if you believe in spirituality, you believe in spirits, then you don't believe in God. And that's not true either.
Yeah, it's not.
Because if you sit in your room and you put your hands together and you pray, you're calling for the spirit of Jesus to come down.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you believe in spirits.
Yep.
So the misconception of Santeria being evil or voodoo, it needs to be retaught.
Mm-hmm.
And the secrecy and the silence of this religion needs to be retaught. Because a lot of people running out here on TikTok showing things they shouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
doing things they shouldn't. When has a war been won by giving your enemy
The
or
playbook.
other people access to your path?
Yeah.
It's never been that way, ever. Hold on. Gotta plug in my battery.
It's it's funny because the
See, talking about spirits and stuff, right? It's
yeah.
talking about spirituality. Why my battery decided to die. And it's been in charged. It's always on the charger, so it shouldn't be dead.
Yeah. Because the energy is consumed by the spirits.
So in the next few episodes of what we do, I would like to discuss this more.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to also maybe do some readings
Yeah. Definitely do some readings.
because honestly, I've seen a lot of fake things on TikTok, and I wouldn't be doing this if it didn't bother me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing this for any monetary reasons. I'm not asking for nothing. I'm asking for people to learn the truth.
Yeah. And what is the age of Aquarius? And they say 2024 is the year of truth.
And the year ain't over.
Nope.
I still got time before the ball drop and hit it. It's January 1st.
And then when we hit age of Aquarius, it's even worse because age of Aquarius is the truth seeker, basically.
Perfect example. I'm living in an area for a year now. I've only been here a year. And some of my neighbors ask me, what do I do? So I told them what I do and I gave them free readings. Those neighbors don't talk to me now because they're scared. How do you know all that you know if you just met me? Because it's not fake.
It's not at all. It's not.
And I'm
It's funny you say that because on Christmas that passed last year, after I was ready, what, Christmas 4 months in? Four, I would say, 4 months in. And I bought all my cousins headphones, like little headphones from like Five Below, whatever. And I gave them all specific colors.
okay.
So my cousin's wife, after she opened, she goes, "Oh my God, I love this color." And at this time, I didn't really have interactions with her. I only known her over social media. And when she was like, "Oh my God, this is my favorite color. Like, I love mint green or sage, whatever the color is, mint green, I'll say." And my cousin looks to me and she goes, "How the hell do you know that?" And then she was like, "Wait, never mind. I know. I know that you know."
See, those are the first people that would look at you in disbelief.
Yeah.
Anyone in your family, because oh, you know that from such and such, and but grab a random stranger off the street. I've done it. I've been sitting in places like at the doctor's office, and I hate going to the hospital. I hate
Oh, I
going
hate
to
hospital.
places. Walmart is the trashiest place you can go. If you go to Walmart and you don't know how to clean yourself, when you get out of Walmart every single time, you take all the spiritual trash that's dumped there home with you. And then you wonder why everything's in disarray. My house is so unhappy. Spend a couple of hours every couple of days in Walmart, and you'll see it happen quickly.
Mm-hmm.
People have lost touch with spirituality, and I'm sorry, but all these babas and these santos that are on TikTok, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You ain't doing it to help nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit there and first of all, I've never given a reading where I didn't give the person the whole full reading. But they tried to teach me If somebody comes to you for a reading, just give them 25%. You need to make money. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want you knocking on my door every 5 days talking about, okay, I got another question about that. No,
Yeah.
no, here, take it all, deal with it. Now, if
That's
I
me.
if I
So.
if I give you a reading and everything comes out the way I say it,
Mm-hmm.
and you come back, it's not because you're coming back to ask me the same things. You're coming back to get, okay, well, I did this and it worked, but now I'm confused because now everything changed. Now my whole life changed.
And it is so funny because I'll say here, I'm the biggest believer, but also the biggest skeptic.
Now the skeptics, here's the thing about the skeptics though,
Mm-hmm.
is those people that go out after you do a reading for them and you tell them do A, B, C, and D, they for some reason end up in X, Y, Z, and P, and that ain't even in an order. They don't do nothing you said, and then they go, yo, man, you full of it because it didn't work. Did you do everything I told you to do? Well, let me say it right. Did you do everything your spirits told my spirits you need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how it works.
And a lot of
This is not, I'm not Whoopi Goldberg. This is not Ghost. I don't sit in the chair and they like, no. I got
and
my agons that I've acquired over the years, and I have my ancestors, and I
mhm.
have my orishas.
I'll be transparent. I've been in spirituality for 2016, so for a few years now. I always done tarot readings. That was my calling. I'll say my calling because that's what the first thing I was really attracted to was tarot readings, and candle magic. Anything candles, tarot. Those are two things I was.
That's a danger too. Like I
It
taught
is.
you, that's the candles, man. They open up two different. There's ways to, like, people, for example, thought that the Ouija board was always a toy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, early 1900s to do a séance in your house was the thing. That was the party favorite.
Yeah, it was.
So when the Ouija board was made, they didn't understand what they was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of people don't understand you could open things with the Ouija board that you can't close.
Portals, gateways, doors, whatever it is, you open it. I mean,
Now every day I'm alive, I'm gonna say I don't know everything,
yeah.
but I know what I know,
Mm-hmm.
and I do what I do.
Yep.
If you got a home and you sitting there on TikTok and you got all your Orishas behind you and you broadcasting it, you ain't gonna keep it for long.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people on TikTok in their bedroom with their Orishas in their bedroom. You should never have anything spiritual in your bedroom. That's a disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
You never have anything spiritual where you have intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big no-no. And people tend to have them in their rooms, hanging up in their ceiling. What are you doing? I heard one person talking about telling somebody else who was, chiming in on their site to give a batala, Bacardi, and wine.
But he
Are you?
doesn't drink.
But they were sitting there full. I could have put all my ceremonial gear on, but is this a ceremony? No, it's a discussion.
And to understand why I say he doesn't stick, Obatala's story is when he actually did drink the wine and got drunk. This is why we have people who have amputees or born
You,
with.
if you know the story of Obatala, which we're not going to go into,
Mm-hmm.
but if you know the story of Obatala, there should never be liquor anywhere around him.
Exactly.
Just like 2 days ago, I saw somebody with an Ochun and an Oya sopera next to each other.
Which
Then
is a big no-no too.
you don't live a comfortable life. So
That's the
basically,
chaos.
before we cut off on this is what this site is for. If you got questions, you want to be educated and from honest, real people. I'm not gonna give you everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's things I can't explain to you unless you're initiated.
Yeah.
But these Alekis, I'm 49. I've had these since I was 13 years old. They have never popped. Knock on wood. Why?
Why?
Because they made me a different person. They were meant to not break. I mean, they pick things up so they do break.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing everything the right way, you can manage to have them for 36 years and they not break.
Mm-hmm.
And have I ever let anybody fool with my beads? No. A lot of people get on, they get all decked out in the ceremonial stuff to talk with people on TikTok and to give away themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think Superman had his strengths to give them away to somebody else?
Nope.
No, he used them to better everybody else. If you really want to be educated in this, ask. Ask somebody that'll tell you the truth. Ask somebody that's honest. Ask somebody that knows answers. I've had people sit down with me and say, "How do you know the things you know?" And you're young. You're only going to be 40. I mean 50. So how are you only going to be 50, but you know so much? Nothing is learned when you're opening your mouth and running it. Everything is learned when you're quiet. You can't, you could hear what I'm saying, but are you listening?
Yep.
And if you're talking, how can you listen if you're only hearing what somebody's saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And I want to educate people on that.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to do readings and I want to get to know people. I want to make friends on this. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Yeah, we're gonna make friends out of it. If you don't like what you see, skip. Go to another somebody else's site. But
Mm-hmm.
if you really want to know truth and you really want real answers, the full book instead of just the chapter, first chapter, come to our site and watch our site
Yep.
and and,
Nope.
and hear what we gotta say.
And there's no such thing as stupid questions either. We learned this in
Nope,
school. No such thing as stupid questions. Even
nope.
out of curiosity, whether you misinformed, whether you heard from XYZ, ask the question. Even if you feel like you're gonna get backlash, ask the questions because a closed mouth won't learn at all. Closed mouth, closed ears won't learn.
Call me a phony, call me a fake, but you can't never say I ain't real.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it. I'll answer your questions for you. I'll
Yeah.
get to the root of it. And I'm not going to use a book to do it. I'm going to use what I traditionally use, my ancestors. Everybody, let me move closer for this. Everybody has ancestors that walk with them. That's how you got here
Mm-hmm.
through a lineage. Yes, you could have lived 10 different lives, but you came through a lineage. When your mommy and your daddy swapped that chair and made you.
Yep.
Don't never let nobody tell you you don't have egg wounds. Because if your grandma loved you that much, she gonna stay with you. If your mommy and daddy love you that much, they're gonna, and even if they didn't, they're gonna be with you because it runs in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
So on that note, when we come back, join us, speak with us, listen to us, hear us, see our point. You might find something that you like, you might not. We might upset you with the truth. But if I upset you with the truth, then that's God saying, shame on you.
I
And I'll
mean,
leave
that's
it at
saying
that.
let the truth
Leave
set
it
you
as
free. Like,
birds fly free, don't they?
yep.
They know their true nature, and they know their direction. They got a clock in them. Had a clock in me ringing. Let's do this.
Mhm. So on to the next episode. Um, just leave some questions in the comments. We'll write them down, answer them as to our best of our abilities, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for tuning in.
I chair.
Ache.